Good morning, students. As from last two lectures, we were discussing about the hospital formulary. Today also we will continue that topic, hospital formulary. This will be the third lecture of hospital formulary. In last lecture, we have discussed about the organization of hospital formulary, as well as we have discussed the preparation of hospital formulary. Today we will discuss contents. We will discuss all the points one by one. This would be our last lecture on hospital formulary. We will start from contents. In contents, A, introduction. In that, list of abbreviations. So there are specific list of abbreviations which can be used in hospitals or hospital formulary. For example, CSF or TID, Terine diazomethum, 3 times a day, or OD, or there are specific abbreviations which are approved by the hospitals, which are approved by the medical professionals, which are approved by the pharmacy professions. Only those abbreviations we should follow. We should not go for the abbreviations which can be used by the physician by their own. There are specific abbreviations which are allowed in pharmacy professions. For example, diabetes mellitus, DM. After that, OD. After that, ulcerative colitis, UC, IBD, inflammatory bowel disease, or IBS, inflammatory bowel syndrome. So, like these various abbreviations, we should go for. Now, list of drugs used in formulary. There are specific list of drugs which can be used in formulary. The list we have already discussed earlier. The various drugs for various diseases which can be used. That list has been done in the hospital formulary. For example, anti-cancer drugs. The list has been done in the hospital formulary. In case of anti-hypertensive drugs, the various list of drugs which has been prepared in hospital formulary. Now we will go for the B points, basic information on each drug. Now here we will go for the specific information of the drugs which need to be maintained by the hospital formulary. Efficacy for treatment of specific conditions. There must be efficacy of that drug to treat that specific condition. For example, if suppose if any person is having acidity, so your drug must counterbalance that acid. Your drug must demolish the acidity. So the antacid which we are using, which are available in the market by the trade name of Gelusil or Dizil. So these are the drugs which are completely decreasing your acidity. Like that, various conditions, for example, pain, if you are having pain, body pain or muscle pain. So the drugs are available for decrease that spasm of your muscle. Antispasmic drugs are available or painkillers are available like NSAID, paracetamol, ibuprofen, ethylenic acid, diclofenac, aceclofenac. So these are the drugs which are specifically acting on your pain as an NSAID. If you are having fever, so you can take paracetamol, you can take aspirin to decrease your pain. So for your specific problem or specific infection, we must have the specific efficient drug which can efficiently treat that disease. In case of diabetes, we must have the specific drugs which can decrease that diabetes mellitus. For example, glimepiride, glycoside, or metformin. These are the drugs which can be used in case of diabetes. So safety profile is also important. That's why if drug is efficacious, no problem. To treat that disease, drug must be efficacious. But it must also safe. So safety profile atoms. If drug is not safe, you cannot use that drug. So for identify the safety profile, we must know the drug's contraindications. The drugs like digoxin, the digoxin having number of contraindications. For example, we cannot use that drug in case of hyperthyroidism, in renal failure, in case of arrhythmia, in case of Parkinson's disease. There are certain conditions in which, in case of liver disease, also liver fibrosis. So that's why we cannot use those drugs. These drugs are contraindicated. Now, in case of the drugs, for example, tetracycline. So, if you are having chelation with the metal atoms, so we cannot use tetracycline. Now, in case of kids, we cannot use the drugs which are banned on kids. In case of lactating mothers, specific drugs are contraindicated. Like that, various safety profiles need to be measured here. Now, interaction profile. Nowadays, drug interaction, it becomes very common. Lots of people are losing their life due to these drug interactions. If you are giving two drugs at the same time, one drug may affect on the action of another drug. One may alter the effect of another drug. Either it will decrease the effect or it will increase the effect. For example, if you are giving the drugs like AC inhibitor plus beta blockers, so they are doing the action of potentiation, they are increasing their action. But in case of the drugs which will increase their toxicity, for example, if you are combining the tricyclic antidepressants with SSRI drugs, what is tricyclic antidepressant drugs? The drugs like carbamazepine or imipramine. If you are giving these antidepressant drugs along with the SSRI drugs, for example, serotonin reuptake inhibitors drugs like venlafaxine or paroxetine. So these drugs are given in combination with tricyclic antidepressants, but they are producing toxic effects. They are not allowing the release or the clearance of tricyclic antidepressants from the kidney. That's why these drugs are very dangerous if they are given in combinations. So one should avoid their combinations. Another example like penicillin or the cephalexin or the drugs like beta-lactam antibiotics, if they are combined with the drugs like probenecid. So probenecid is having the ability to decrease the clearance of the drug from the kidney, and due to which they will increase the concentration of that antibiotics into our body, and due to which they can increase the level of that drug into our body, and due to which it may produce toxic effects. Now we will move toward the adverse effects. There are lots of drugs which are having adverse effects, so you need to be ensure which drug is having adverse effects. For example, chloromphenical. These drugs are having very drastic adverse effects on pregnant lady. If lady will take that drug, she will suffer from Gravy syndrome to her fetus. So fetus will die. Another example of adverse effects. Suppose if you take the tetracycline, it will produce the chelation and abnormal the bone formation or teeth formation will be there. Also, there are lots of drugs which can produce the adverse effects, and we should keep in our mind that this drug will produce that adverse effects. Next is pharmacokinetic profile. One should know regarding the ADME, absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion of that drug. If you know that specifically, we can design that drug, we can maintain that drug for the therapy. If your drug is not having proper bioavailability, not proper absorption rate, if any hindrance is there into your absorption, so we should find out the problem and we should check, and we can there is higher problem. If volume of distribution is the issue, so in that case also you can work. If drug is having less volume of distribution, if you want large, so you can change the drug. Metabolism, if drug is metabolized very easily, so you can go for the better drug which will not metabolize. If you want its action for longer period, so that drug should stay in your body. If you want its action for only for 1 day or for few hours, so if it is passed from your body, so it's okay for you. So in that case, if its half life is less, then it's okay, no problem, because if it will go from your body, it will pass from your body, so it will give the less toxic effects. Now, bioavailability. In that case, we must know that what are the bioavailability. Now, in that, the dosage form. Now, dosage form. So, what dosage form you are giving? Whether it is tablet form or capsule form, or it is in elixir form or syrup form, that you need to be ensure, and we should select the dosage form out of them. Now, availability of atoms. Suppose if you want the specific drug, specific antibiotic for the specific treatment for specific infections, so you need to be check that drug into our formulary whether it is available or not. If it is available, then we should go for that. If the drug is not available, we should not prescribe that drug to the patient. Now, next is availability of dosage form. Yes, specific dosage form need to be available for the specific drugs. If you want the drug into the controlled release form, and if it is not available, so there is no use. So you need to be available that drug into our formulary. You should add that drug. Now, in case of asthma, we should require that pump, because that pump is specifically and exactly working on the site where it should work. So in that case, obviously the tablet and the syrup is also working, but we want fast action. So for fast action, the drug must reach at the site of action. So in that case, we should go for the proper dosage form. Now, suppose if somebody is having the ulcerative colitis, so your drug must work into your colon. So you should insert the drug into the colon where it will work properly. Likewise, if you are having the drug, it should need to be go into your spinal cord. So you can give that drug directly into the spinal cord. You should inject them into spinal cord. If you are having any nerve problem or nerve pain or neuropathy is there, so likewise, accordingly, you should target your organ. You should target your tissue, and for that the targeted dosage form is very important. So specifically dosage form you should identify, and you should give for the proper treatment of that disease. Cost. Here the cost is varies from company to company, so that depends on the industry, and the industry are deciding the cost of that medicine. If they are having their own molecule, their cost will be high. If the company is working on loan license, their cost will be less. So that depends on the company's profile also. If company is rich, company is having a good uh, environment, or is having good culture, or company having good name, good brand name into the market, obviously they may have last high cost into the market. And the company, and a company like Dr. Reddy or Pfizer or Glaxo, the products they may have large cost. And the company like Cipla, or the company like Ranbaxy or FDC or Mankind, so their cost may varies from those companies. So company to company variation is there. And in case of generic medicine, they are also having cost affecting. They are having less cost than the other drugs which are having from trade names. Now, available acceptability to the patients. Here also the role of pharmacist, whether that patient is accepting that drug or not. So it is the responsibility of that pharmacist that he need to communicate with patients, and patient should be acceptable that drug. He should tell to the patient that regarding the drugs, how it is good for his health, and how he should take. So accessibility to the patient is also important. Now, C point, supplementary information on each drug. In that, first is storage guidelines. Here, the variation into the climatic conditions affects on your drugs. Various drugs are having their specific storage capabilities. Some drugs uh, are good, they are not having any problem according to the any temperature or any climate. Some drugs are thermolabile. If you will increase the temperature, the drugs will lose their content, they will lose their characters. For example, the drugs like proteins containing drugs, or the drugs which are having enzymes, so denaturation of their structure will be there, and due to which they will lose their effect, they will lose their efficacy. So that's why storage is having major issue. Some drugs are require temperature, they should store at below 0 degrees Celsius. Some drugs need to be stored at below 8 degrees Celsius. Some temperature should maintain at room temperature, means below 30 degrees Celsius. And some drugs don't have any issue regarding temperature or humidity. There are certain drugs which are uh, having problem regarding sunlight, so they are photophobic drugs. So those drugs should be stored into the amber color bottle, whether it is glass or it would be the plastic containers. So that's why if you will see in some blister packages of tablets, they are having amber colored blister packages. Some tablets are transparent because they don't have any issue regarding the direct sunlight, but some tablets may degrade due to the direct sunlight. Uh, because there may be problem into their texture, their formulation, their active ingredients, they may be affected. So storage condition is very important. So you should maintain the storage guidelines for typical drugs, and you should keep in your mind that for which drug which storage condition you should follow. Patient counseling information. Here, there is role of pharmacist, how he will counsel to the patients, how he will tell to the patients regarding the use of that drug, regarding the proper use. In case of the tablets, at which time he should take, after meal, after how many times of meal, or at bedtime, or uh, before meal, or in the daytime. So properly he can convince to the patient. Counseling is very very important. If the patient is missing any dose, so there is role of patient. So he can counsel, he can ask to the patient, so we should continue that therapy. In case of tuberculosis, it always happens. After 1 month of treatment, patient think that now he is feeling very well, and he just start to keep skip the drugs, start to skip the therapy, due to which again the relapse of that tuberculosis will occur, and it will develop into the MBD, which is very problematic. So in that case, there is role of pharmacist to do patient counseling for the patients, so that he will continue the therapy at proper time and with proper food also. So here the pharmacist can teach patients how to use that drug. In case of the eye drops, how the patient can instill the eye drop, how it will open, how it will attach the cap. In case of ear drops also, in case of cup syrup also, in case of suspension, how that water will added, how much quantity will be added, and how many days the suspension will be used. Sometimes suspension you should use within 7 days, in some cases within 1 month only. After that you need to throw that typical suspension. In case of syrup, when you are opening, you should, each time you should wash that container in which you are pouring that syrup, you are measuring that syrup. At each time you should measure properly that quantity of syrup. So that all small things need to be teach, need to be tell to the patients. Labeling information. Now what are the information which you are uh, expecting or display on the labels? For example, name of company, name, brand name of that typical drug. After that, its quantity contains, each tablet contains or each capsule contains 800 mg, contains active ingredients, its quantity in milligram, gram. After that, the logo of that company, manufactured, marketed by. After that, brand name. After that, its batch number, date of manufacturing, date of expiry. If any instruction is given, for example, schedule H drug can be purchased on the retail prescriptions. In case of any warning, in case of any storage conditions, so it need to be specified here. In case of labeling information should be proper and clearly mentioned. It should be readable, properly readable. Misbranding or mislabeling also occurs sometimes. So here you need to be checked proper labeling. Brand names and prices. As I mentioned earlier also, that depends on the company. It varies from one industry to one another industry. The company which are having high turnover, which are having high reputation into the market, their brand names may have high prices. And likewise, it varies. It is directly proportional by their value into the market, by their turnover, their how they are working honestly into the market, how their reputation is there, how the drugs are affecting their profile into the market. Accordingly, it defines the prices. D point, prescribing and dispensing guidelines. Principles of prescribing writing. Now, here there will be another lecture on prescribing writing. Actually, doctors are prescribing most of time in good manner, but sometimes it may become issue. It may become headache. It sometimes it become critical issue. There was one example in Mumbai when one 62 years old person was asking for drugs for his arthritis. The drugs was NaCid drug. I don't know its exact name, but due to the bad writing or bad prescription of the doctors, the pharmacists have given, have dispensed methotrexate, which is an anti-cancer drug, by mistake, and due to which person have lost his life. That 62 years old person have lost his life, and it become a issue, and due to which the pharmacist have filed. But doctor also get some treatment, because no doubt it is the, it is the issue. It was the pharmacist role to give drugs, but doctor is also one of the accused in that, because if he had done the good writing of that spelling of that brand name or that drug, so the perfect drug should be dispensed by the pharmacist also, and due to which pharmacist had to lose his license. Now he is behind bar due to that critical issue. Still case is going on, but this problem should not happen. If doctor, that's why I saw some doctors are prescribing in type form. It is a perfect one, it is very good practice they are doing. If they are writing by your own, by pen, it is not good. If their handwriting is good, there is no issue, but handwriting is very bad, so in that case we should not practice such prescriptions, because If you are doctor, if you are a physician, the peoples are believing you, peoples are rely on you, their health is going to be depends on your prescriptions, and if you are playing with their life, it's not good thing. That's why prescription writing, it need to be taught to the doctors. Now, there are three patterns, there are three different things which need to be mentioned here. First is title, second is body, and third is closing. Now in titles, the name of hospitals or name of doctors, date. After that, you can go for the patient's name. After that, patient's age, patient's weight. If any pathological report is there, you need to mention there. If any symptom is there, support if bleeding occurs, if blood pressure is there, you should mention blood pressure. Sugar is there, you should mention sugar. Respiratory rate. So whatever the primary symptoms or primary information which need to be given, it should be mentioned there. You should mention there regarding that patient. Next, body. In that body, you should start with the RX. After that, you should write the name of drugs. Name of drugs should be write specifically, clearly. It should be readable. Either you should go for the generic name, means it's a chemical name, or you should go for the brand name. Better if you go for the chemical name or biological name. After that, its quantity, its dosage form. After that, its quantity and number of drugs. How many drugs you are prescribing? It is for 1 month or it is for 7 days. So specific quantity should need to be mentioned there. Below that, for it is daily, you should take one times a day. BID means Bicin disomendum, TID Tarin disomendum, or OD, or BID, or you should take alternate day. So you should specifically mention there in simple ways that patient must understand clearly. And below that, closing means you should, if you have any instruction you want to give to the physician, or you should give to the patient or pharmacist, that instruction or warning you can give in her suggestion, that you should go for the morning walk, you should avoid this thing. So any suggestion it is there, you can give suggestion to the patient. Lastly, duly signed. So this is the exact format one should follow. And also in dosage form, specifically it is in a milligram or gram you should mention, and which sort of preparation is there, formulation is there, should mention there. So like this, there is typical lecture on this. If you will tell, I will take one lecture on that also, how to write prescriptions. After this, reporting of ADR, this is also very important. It is not, in India it is not working very efficiently and very fluently, but in other countries, in developed countries like US or UK or European countries, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, after that in Brazil also, they are working very good manner. In Sweden, Norway also, if you'll see, ADR reporting is very important. To save the life, you should report the ADR, whatever ADR it is. What is ADR? It is the adverse drug reactions. So when if any ADR occurs, we should report to the specific concerned hospitals or concerned any authorities. Now, in case of international level, it is located at Sweden, at Uppsala. There is International ADR Report Center. Now in India, there are 6 centers. In 2010, the 6 center has been developed for ADR reporting in India. In that, first is at New Delhi, second is at Mumbai, third is at Kolkata, fourth is at Lucknow, fifth is at Chandigarh, and sixth is at Pondicherry. So there are 6 centers in India, but out of them 6 centers, only 2 centers are working properly, where we are getting the proper reporting of ADR. One in Mumbai and another in New Delhi, where constantly we are getting reporting. But in another 4 centers, we are not getting proper reporting, which we should get. Now, after ADR reporting, prevention of ADR, pharmacist's role to prevent that ADR. We should prevent the ADR. If it is possible to prevent, we should do that. How we can prevent? We should teach patient. We should tell patient. We should give the prior information to the patient that after doing this, if this will occur, immediately report to us. Or if this will not occur, then it's okay, no problem, no issue. So in this fashion, we should alert the patient. Now E, general drug use and advice. In that, use of IV drugs. Now, what drugs we should use by IV route? So that you need to be checked, and nurse or the properly trained doctors, physicians, only those peoples they should give these injectables. And in that, one should know the rules, how to use ampules, where it should break, how it should break, and after that, how can we take that drugs into our injections, into our syringe. After that, from vials, if you are taking properly, you should measure the drug properly. You should inject the drug to the patients, and you should inject very firmly and very politely, so that patients should not have any pain. So that skill one should develop, and you can develop if you will do proper practice of that injecting to the peoples. And you should know the exact location. If you are injecting in muscles, so how you are injecting in your muscles, how you are injecting into your subcutaneous in case of insulin or other drugs. If you are inserting in our dermal layer, so how you should ensure, you should know what is the exact location of that skin where you are injecting that medicine. So proper implantation, proper placement of that drug should be there in case of IV drugs, because IV drugs are directly going into your system blood circulation. That's why you need to ensure that drugs are properly going into your blood or not. Specific situations like pregnancy, yes, pregnancy is one of the critical issue. Sometimes it becomes headache if you are not keeping in your mind that patient is pregnant and you are giving that drug. Now the drugs like alcohol containing drugs, if you are giving to the pregnant lady, so they can affect the development of brain. The drugs like antipsychotic drugs or antidepressant drugs, the drugs like sedative and hypnotic drugs like diazepam, phenobarbital. So these drugs are producing mental retardation into the fetus if lady is pregnant. Also breastfeeding drugs, some drugs are, they are coming into our milk also if the mother is breastfeeding. And the drugs like tetracycline, drugs like chloramphenicol, drugs like methotrexate, drugs like anti-diabetic drug gliclazide, glimepiride. So these drugs can come into our milk also. And in case of liver or kidney disease, so one should mention, or one should keep in the mind that if patient is having kidney disease, he should control the drug. So there is control drug for kidney disease. For example, the drugs like allopurinol, the drugs like digoxin, the drugs like lithium, drugs like methotrexate, drugs like fluorouracil. So these are the drugs which need to be cautiously given to the patients, because they are affecting on our kidney, they are affecting on our renal failure, they can induce renal failure, they can worsen the condition if patient is already having kidney problem. So these drugs need to be given very cautiously. They should control their dose, because if they will increase the dose, they will affecting on kidney. Same thing in case of liver. Some drugs are affecting on your liver. For example, the drugs like aminoglycosides, the drugs like erythromycin, the drugs like antitubercular drug. Some antifungal drugs are also having effects on our liver. The drugs like oseltamivir, they are damaging your liver if you are taking without infection as a prophylaxis. So the liver is also one of the key organ of our body, and you should maintain the therapy. You should take the drug whenever they required and at the maintained quantity. You should maintain the quantity. If it is more, you should manage it up to the minimum level so that it should not affect or it should not damage your kidney or your liver. Poisoning information and antidotes. You need to be ensure that which drug may become poison. There are list of poisons, for example, morphine poisoning, arsenic poisoning, iron poisoning, organophosphorus poisoning, organochloride poisoning. So these are the various poisons, the drugs which can become poison, and for that specific antidote you should know. Now, in case of barbiturate poisoning, in case of the diazepam poisoning, in case of the alcohol poisoning, so these drugs may become poison if you are taking for longer period and at large quantity. So you must know the exact antidote for that specific drugs. Suppose the drugs it's cholinergic. If you are giving anticholinergic, it will become the antidote. Specific blocker of that drug. If drug is adrenergic, if you are giving anti-adrenergic, means it will become the antidote. That typical receptor, you are blocking the typical receptor. In case of our morphine also, if you are giving naloxone, it will become the naloxone or nalorphone. So it will become the antidote of that typical poisoning. So pharmacists must know the poisoning information, its poisoning dose also, and its antidote. If you are taking that drug orally, so one should know the general treatment of poisoning. For example, what we will do if somebody is having poisoning of that drug. So we should firstly we should try to decrease the absorption. How will stop the absorption? Either we will give the activated charcoal to decrease the absorption into our stomach, into our intestine, or what we will do, we will give the gastric lavage, or we will allow the patient to do the vomiting. Whatever drug has been taken into the stomach, it will comes out. It won't get absorbed into our small intestine. So in this fashion, we will decrease the absorption. After though it has been absorbed, if it is going into our small intestine, what we will do? We will give the drug like purgatives or laxative. Means they will immediately throw away from our intestine. They will pass away very fastly. Means we won't allow their absorption, and they will throw away pass away from our intestine. So in this fashion, or in some case we can go for the antidotes. If the drug has been absorbed into your blood, drug has been reaches to your systemic circulation, so before start its action of poison, we can give the antidote if drug has been reached to your systemic circulation. And treatment of snake bite and insect bite, in that case, what things which we can do? First we should try to destroy the allay and fear. Try to decrease the allay and fear. After that, keep patient calm, quiet, give the proper air, proper oxygen. You don't gather on one place. Give the normal passage of air toward the patient. After that, at the site of bite, what we can do? Apply the soap on water. Immediately wash that area where the the snake bite has occurred. If in case of insect bite also, after that, what we can do? We can go for the application of the ice cube on the site of bite, snake bite or insect bite. Apply immediately, or you can tie the area which are going towards your heart. Apply the bandage, apply the bands which will stop the flow of that uh, poisons through blood into your systemic circulation. try to stop that passage. And you can give the specific drugs for the specific insect or specific snakes. You could give the snake venom, or give the anti-allergic drugs to avoid the insect bites effects, like the drugs like levocetirizine, or you can give the corticosteroids to stop the allergic reactions, or you can give the painkiller NSAID. So in this fashion, we can give the drugs like deflazacort. It is a corticosteroids. So in this fashion, we can stop their actions. Now, if miscellaneous section in this children dose, as in last lecture also we are discussed regarding the children dose. There are two rules: Clark's rules and Young's rule, by which we should know the children's dose. How can we calculate children dose? Now, renal adjustment, as we have discussed in last point, kidney disease. Renal adjustment means the patient who are having kidney problems, who are having problem of renal failure, they should consciously take the drug. For example, the drug like allopurinol, the drug is given for the gout, a patient suffering from gout. In that case, we should adjust the dose of that allopurinol so that it should not worsen the condition of renal failure. It should not affect on the kidney. Like that, the drug like lithium, digoxin, methotrexate, fluorouracil, of ethambutol, these drugs are renal adjustment drugs. We should properly adjust the dose of drug so that it should not produce the renal failure. I hope you understood. Metric units. We should do the proper metric unit. For example, gram, milligram, or unit, international unit, UI. So like that proper metric unit you should use for the dose of that drug. Diagnostic kits, we should, you can make the different section for diagnostic kits. For example, Preganews, it is diagnostic kits for pregnancy, diagnostic kit for sugar to identify how much gram mg, the gram of that sugar into our blood. That after that, diagnostic kits for malaria, diagnostic kits for our HGOT, HGPT, like the various diagnostic kits you can maintain into our hospitals for number of diseases, number of problems. Now, now our responsibility, drug selection. First, we must select the proper drug for the proper diseases, for proper conditions. So that is very very important. If you will go for the wrong drugs, it will become the malpractice. So go for the proper exact drug and precise drugs. Specific 2 3 drugs you should go for the that typical disease or typical conditions. And promoting formulary adherence, you should prepare formulary in such a way that formulary adherence should develop, and we should maintain the adherence to the physician and pharmacist and nursing staff also. Review and take action on all non-formulary drugs used in the hospitals. Try to avoid the non-formulary drug used in the hospitals. And if it is there, if it is life-saving, in that case only you should use that. But you should take that drug in very less quantity, or try to control their use. Try to ban those drugs. Provide a copy of hospital formulary to all doctors in the hospitals. That formulary copy should be available in all the areas, all the compartment of the hospitals. Involve the medical staff in various formulary implementing programs. We should involve them, we should teach them, tell them, then and then they will be involved into your hospital formulary program. Give much advertisement and publicity regarding formulary and revision of formulary. Formulary versus drug list. So this question also may be asked in the examination. What is the distinguish between hospital formulary and drug list? There are certain points that you need to be discussed here. The first is Listing of drugs by their generic name, followed by information of strength, form, posology. What is posology? Posology is nothing but the branch of pharmacy which deals with the dose of that typical drug. It is 10 mg, 20 mg, 100 mg. Dose defines the disease. According to the status, health of the patient, sex of the patient, and the severity of the disease, we will decide the dose of that typical drug. It is nothing but the posology. After toxicology, if the drug is more toxic, we should not take that drug, or according to the need of that drug, we should go for that. So toxicology use and recommended quantity to be dispensed. If the 100 mg quantity has been recommended, and if you are giving 200 mg quantity, it is unethical. So you should stick to your prescription, stick to the rules of formulary. If you won't stick, definitely it will produce the problem to the patients. Here, in case of drug list, generic names followed by data on strength and form. Now, in case of formulary, second point, prepared locally by its own clinical staff. So, the clinical staff of that typical hospital are preparing this hospital formulary. It can be prepared by pharmacist as well as by these physicians. Now here, in case of drug list, prepared by country's outstanding clinicians, pharmacologists, and pharmacists. So it is a group of all the clinicians, pharmacologists, and pharmacists from the country, and they are preparing country's drug list. Next point is information provided is subject to local needs and desires. So in that localized area, what are the diseases are available, or the strength of that people are sensitized for typical drugs. So according to that, the drugs which are required for their treatment, or which are suited for those peoples, that nearby locality of the peoples, the formulary is going to be prepared. And in case of drug list, information provided according to their pharmacological properties. So in this fashion, there is a differentiation between formulary and drug list. I hope you understood today's topics. Today we have concluded our hospital formulary topic. In next lecture, we will go for the next topic. If you have any issue regarding the lecture, you can ask me by doing WhatsApp or by any other ways. So thanks a lot for hearing me carefully. I hope you understood all topics. So for today, it's sufficient. So goodbye. Have a nice day. Bye.